Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cubs on Tap. It is a Friday 2023 edition of Cubs on Tap. And I say that because it's Sunday, but me and Nick we were doing a lot of Friday shows last year. We haven't been on the mic for a little bit, Nick. Um, some of it
We've
has
not.
been good lately, some of it has been bad. This team is like yo-yoing, but I am super pumped to be here to talk about the Cubs series victory, even though would have liked to have that one today. But Nick, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing very good. As you said, the Cubs are yo-yoing back and forth for sure. At probably the worst time to be yo-yoing. This is the time to be doing your absolute best. But it's all right. We're gonna break it down. I'm just grateful for Cubs baseball because it is fun to be watching.
It's fun to be watching. That is true. I gotta get. I see. I'm not the most technical person here at On Tap. If you could tell, I'm just going through these little things, popping up things that don't need to be there before we get to them. We have topics lined up for tonight, just to let everybody know, and got to go down the line. But I don't know how to do that. I'm just like pushing buttons everywhere where I can. But yeah, Nick, it's fun to watch. I didn't get to admittedly watch the game today. I had my own game that we lost. That was also a close game, but Cubs fall 1-0 today. Um, couldn't get the bats going. We'll talk about it all. But happy Sunday, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights in the comments here. So happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy
Um,
Sunday.
Scott's like shocked that I'm here right now. Me too, to be honest with you. But I'm glad that I'm here. It's been a hell of a summer going on busy wise. I know you too, Nick. So
Yeah.
glad the stars kind of aligned and we were able to relieve Mr. Loose on Tap and Juice and Tyler, who have really been carrying us a lot this season. So
100%.
and much appreciated that they've been just riding it this whole time. Ricky De Hoyos, we didn't get the sweep, but I'll take the series win. That's kind of where I'm at, Nick. Like
Yeah.
it's tough because I you wanted it today, right? It's 1-0. It's
It's right
well,
there.
yeah, it's right there. It's for the taking. Like this could have easily been had, and I feel like you really needed a sweep after following that Guardian series. I think that's where
Yeah.
it just stings a little bit. But um, before we get into like the series results, Nick, how are you just feeling about what's happened this last week? I guess with this team.
Yeah, like you said, with the series against the Guardians, it was a real gut punch. I think it was one of those things where starting this series, I said you basically need to sweep. You need to sweep. And it was there today. And Francis Bowden was like, no, I'm gonna shove 7 innings. I think he went something like that of scoreless ball. But like the bats didn't wake up. It's just disappointing because you had him 1 run only on the board. You just needed to get two, and you could have that sweep that you really need. I mean, you got a piggy or leapfrog 3 teams, right, in the wild card right now, something like that.
Three or
So
four. Yeah.
3 or 4, yeah. So it's disappointing. Right now, you're kind of just watching just to hope that they go on a run, and I'm just not seeing that potential where they're going to go on that God run and just take it home because they need to go on a run here, especially after that sweep that they had. A series win was necessary. A sweep would have been really nice, though.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like the Guardian series in particular was just like that was where, and Scott's calling it here last Sunday, 3.5 games back, today, 5.5 games back. Such a
Oh,
kick in the balls. Like
yeah.
the Guardian series to me was the kick in the balls.
Yep.
You couldn't get swept. That's all, and there were
It's the
close
one
calls in
thing.
that
Yeah.
series. There were some like the first game of the series. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go too far back in the past, but quickly to like run it down what happened if anybody missed it. Today, Cubs lost 1-0, as Nick just highlighted. Their pitcher just went out there and shoved it down the Cubs' throats. The bats were almost non-existent. And on going in reverse, basically, we're going to talk about this game a little bit more, but Saturday, Cubs pulled out the victory. I believe it was 3-2. So a one-run victory after another one-run victory on Friday night when they won 6-5. Which, watching that game, it should not have been as close as it turned out to be, and it shouldn't have even made it to extra innings. But
No.
we'll get into that part too, because man, it was embarrassing. I think just to get to that point. Um,
Yeah, 100% it was.
but Nick, like today, obviously I didn't get to watch the game, but Shota doing something that he's been doing all season. And I know he only pitched 5 innings today, but just looking at his line, and I don't know how his stuff was actually looking. Um, but he had a hell of a line as far as the strikeouts go. Um, Pulling it up
Yeah.
here. You got it in front of you? I just had
Yeah,
it.
I got it right here. He went 5 innings and then 6 strikeouts with 1 earned run. Now the thing is with those strikeouts, he was doing that really early in the season where he'd have the high strikeouts, but the very high pitch count, and then go 5 innings, maybe six, but not going so deep. That's the one thing he gets himself into trouble with the strikeouts. But he's just that type of pitcher that is going to try to get you to swing and miss, which is interesting because he used to be like mainly the fly ball type of pitcher, but he's more away from the pitching to contact from what I've seen out of him, which I think has benefited him really greatly, is to avoid those bats, work high up in the zone like he does. I really like that with the four seam fastball. And he really sets up his other pitches well doing that. But he gave you what you needed to win today. He gave you the 5 innings of 1 earned run baseball. You should be able to take that and build off of it. And even if the bullpen gives up two runs there, the offense should still be able to take that starting performance and build off of it. And they just, like you said, the bats were just non-existent today. It was really sad.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do when that's the case? When Shota's out there pitching, like you said, it wasn't quite that work deep into the game, but more so rack up the pitch count, getting the strikeouts. I heard on the radio driving back today that I believe, I don't know who was saying it on the radio. Actually, I don't remember who, because I was just kind of zoned out. But Ernie Clement, he had struck him out twice, and that's a guy who is like the second hardest hitter to strike out in the league this year, second to Luis Ariz, as far as
Wow.
like hardest player to strike out in the league. And he struck him out twice. So that just goes to
Wow.
show you like
Yeah.
the strikeout stuff. I was amazed when I heard that. It was like, wow, okay, like his stuff is just so different, I think, coming out of the hand and the way it moves. And
It
it's
is.
such a
Yeah.
weapon for the Cubs to be able to have that. And if there's anything that gives me hope in this team, it's the pitching.
It's the
Like
pitch. Yeah, yeah, it is.
it's what makes me, it's like holding on to that sliver of like this team can do something because they have guys like him and Steele and
And
Tyon.
Steel. Yeah.
But man, the bats just got to be better. I get it. The guy was shoving today, and that's sometimes you do just got to tip your cap. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
fully with that too. But um,
But you got
just
to try different things too. You can't go up there with the same approach. I saw guys going up there just staring at three straight pitches. Like, you got to do something different. You got to try to get on base, shake it up a little bit. Sometimes it's on the manager to play some small ball when the pitcher's just that dominant. But you got to do something to shake it up, especially when you have on the other side your guy who's shoving for you and going out there and trying to give you that opportunity. And you are like, this is crunch time now if you're the Cubs. Like, as we talked about, you got 4 teams to hop over. You got more ground to make up from last weekend, which you completely lost. So it's really disappointing. It would have been a much different feeling of a sweep, where now, even though they got the series win, you kind of look back and you go, but that Friday game where that shouldn't have been that close, and that doesn't feel good at all if you're talking about a team sneaking into the playoffs. Like, it's just getting more and more like sad.
well,
Right?
It is getting more and more sad. And the one thing that's weird is, they lost a one-run game today, but they won two one-run games in this
Yeah.
series. So, as bad as their one-run game record is this season, which is not good and not what we were expecting under a Craig Counsell-led team, their one-run record somehow improved this series by one game. But still, it's like, yeah, man, I'm with you. You got to try. You got to shake things up like somehow. And I do like the lineups that Council puts out most of the time. Like most
Yeah.
of the time, I do. Outside of Wisdom being in that two hole every now and then, which, good God, man,
So
like
weird. That's such a weird thing.
give it a break. Give it a break.
There's probably
That
2% of Cubs fans that are like, "That's a good idea." Like, that's
if
so
that,
puzzling. It's so puzzling when I see that. I'm like, "What?
yeah, yeah,
What?"
it really feels like you're putting him in a spot that you think he can be rather than what he is.
Yeah.
And I don't. We're in late August almost. The 18th. We sit here on the 18th on a Sunday. At some point, you are who the fuck you are.
Yeah, literally. Yep.
Excuse me, because now I have to label this podcast explicit. And I didn't want. I was actually trying to be good on this one
Tried.
and not do it as explicit. Ronald,
I
I'm sorry.
tried too. I was like earlier I almost had one, so
Yeah, and it wasn't
that's
even
all
like
right.
over a reason. It wasn't like,
This team will make you do that though. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's a very frustrating situation we find ourselves in because like you said, the starting pitching is there and you're like, "Wow." Think about how many times that's happened this year where it is a one-run game where your starters went and gave you and the bullpen gave you everything you needed and so much more and you still couldn't get it done. And like you said, the manager was brought in to win all these one-run games. It's like it's been a very frustrating season, a very puzzling season. Um, I really hope they have one more run left in them, man. I hope they could just go on one more run and make it interesting. At least make things watchable for the last month.
yeah. If it's one thing we can confidently feel good about is or agree on, me and you, which we don't really disagree on much, it seems like, when it comes to the Cubs, but just give us something entertaining.
Yeah.
Just give us something entertaining. And honestly, the way that the close games that they lose, they are entertaining.
There.
They're
Yeah.
entertaining, and sometimes it's just so painful that's how it's entertaining from a bad point. Like, you don't need this game to be entertaining. And I
Yeah,
mean,
you just want it to be boring, bad.
you
Like
want it to be
you just
boring sometimes.
blow out. Yeah.
It's like you cannot shut your phone off. You can't shut the TV off. You have to watch it for a full 9 and sometimes a full 10 just to get the result that you either are or
Most
aren't
likely
looking
is
for.
yeah, most likely you're not looking for it. Those I feel like it's been more painful games than happy, like close games where you're like, oh, I feel really good, and then it's just pain. Like there's been so many of those this year, so many.
100%, dude. They're just pricking themselves in the finger like every day is what it feels like. I
Literally,
or every, not every day. Shouldn't say that. See, it does. It's gonna sound like we're
really
upset
don't.
about a series win, but I'm not upset. It's just it's like,
But it's time to get realistic. Like you
yeah,
said, we're sitting here August 18th. We are now, what is it, like 5.5 games back in the wild card?
mhm.
And you got four other teams that are just as hungry as you are, if not more, that like you've just set yourself up for like you really got to win a lot. You got to go on a run. And it's like I just don't see it in this Cubs team, to be honest with you. It's sad to say, but I don't see it.
Uh, it's a lot of yo-yoing, Nick, and
Yeah.
I got a pretty good something here to indicate
Crack them.
what the way I'm feeling with the yo-yo. Yes, crack them, of course. But this is a
Ooh,
Pipeworks Brewing free ad here. Pastrami, I'm going the wrong way, on
on
rye,
rye.
which sounds disgusting. Let's try it out. It's not that great. Okay. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. I love baseball and I love the Cubs. I don't like the way that they treat me. I love beer. And sometimes it tastes like shit. and you don't like it,
Yeah,
depending on the beer. So that's what I feel when it comes to this Cubs team. So I don't know why I'm drinking this, but I'm gonna put myself through this hell, just like I'm gonna put myself through the hell of watching the Cubs
it's a
for the
great
rest.
analogy. Yeah, that's a great analogy. That's 100% what it's like. It's like cracking open a beer that you're really excited about on the outside. It's really nice, really good market. And you're like, ah, that's the Cubs. They look really good. We were so excited. We came into this year with all of our predictions, all of our like, oh, we got this manager, we got all these pieces. We really thought the offense would be a lot better. We thought Seiya was going to be the guy carrying everything. Morel was going to take this giant leap. And a lot has really
He's
not
gone by
come to
August.
fruition. Yeah, yeah. We're sitting here August 18th, clawing, clawing for our lives just to stay alive in this. So it's sad, but like we have to be realistic here. Just because it's a series win, we're a team that wants to do the best. We want to strive for the best. We don't want to be like a basement dweller. So we're gonna hold them to a high standard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, I came in this feeling like it wasn't even a series win because of all that happened with Heart Attack Hector and all that craziness. So
100%, dude, 100%. And yeah, we do expect more. We want more.
yeah,
At this point, Nick, it's going to take multiple series sweeps. Like we're not talking about series victories as being, yes, it's positive, but when you have to leapfrog, like you said, whatever it was, three or four teams in
before
the
yeah.
wild card, and they're that close bunched together. Not to mention, we're going to talk about what's coming up next and what's on the schedule. They don't face very many of those teams for the rest of the year that they need to pass in the wild card. So you are not only needing to win, you need other teams to do your job for you and to get you to that point to where you can actually make it to the wild card. So there's a lot of things here that are starting to stack up. Well, they've been stacking up for a while now against the Cubs, and it doesn't lead me to that positive land. Just
Yeah.
mental state. It's like you said, you kind of have to be a realist, but we will touch on all that stuff here later on. But I do want to move to something here on Saturday. We'll kind of go in reverse as far as the games go. 3-2 victory right off the bat. Ian Happ gets the Cubs started in the bottom of the first, leadoff home run, and he's been really, really good here. It seems like in the leadoff spot, and this is something that you wanted to talk about. So Nick,
Hmm.
please, the floor is yours, man. What are you seeing from Happ, and is that a move that you really
Yeah.
like that Council has made?
Yeah, here's the reason why I really like it. You're coming into the series where you need something special. You need something special to happen. You need that series sweep. You need that. And Hap has been that special hitter for you. He has been that guy. He leads the team in RBIs. He probably leads the team in extra base hits, I would imagine. Something like maybe Michael Bush. But he's that guy that you need at the top of the lineup to get on. I think he leads in walks. Yeah, he leads in walks. So when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that's a good. I like that. I like him at the top. Get you started. It's a little bit of electricity, like with that home run. He's going to give you the power from time to time. So I liked that. I thought that was a really good move. And then it came to fruition where he really performed. But he's a guy that you want to see in those crucial spots. Like I want to see him now in the spot with guys on. I want to see him carry the team because he is shown to be the guy that is going to be capable of doing so. I mean, the second guy to him is Michael Bush. That's your rookie. It's crazy we're even having him in the same sentence of saying that this guy is carrying your team and Michael Bush is closely behind him. But that's your rookie first baseman. So it's quite crazy that the other players haven't really played to their standard and nowhere near above their standard for sure. So Hap is that guy to put in the leadoff spot right now, especially if you're trying to change something, get a little electricity into it. I liked it. I was like, yes, Hap has shown lately he is the guy. He's hitting the crap out of the ball. He's seeing the ball really well, getting on base a lot. So it's a no-brainer. I thought that was a good move.
I like it too, man. And this is something that we have talked about. I don't know how long ago, but this is something probably early in the season this year, I think, but in the past as well. um, how he is an on base guy. Like, and if his power isn't quite there, as far as like this year, it has been. His power's upticked, from where it was kind of trending. Anyways, it seemed like his power was trending the wrong direction, but this year, the power is starting to come back a little bit, and so that would kind of lead you into more of like a middle of the order kind of hitter, but the on base is always why I thought, well, leadoff actually could be a pretty good spot for him. So I like it too. It's something. It's a little bit of a mix here. Like the Nico Wego. That was nice to
Yeah.
try, and it was good last year. But this year hasn't really been the spark that the Cubs needed it to be. So, while Talkman was kind of filling that role for a while too, him going down and then coming back and kind of trying to reassert himself, but it seems like the Cubs know at this point that he won't be a long-term part of the future, especially with the outfield depth that this team has, from the minors and from what already is on the team now and what could be brought in from free agency or through trades. So I think it makes sense to kind of see what else you have in different roles and not just different positions. Like, Hap is seemingly more than capable to do it. And so he's doing a really good job. And yeah, I have no complaints with that move whatsoever. I like it. Um, I do really quickly want to point out some of the comments here that we've missed.
Yeah.
Scott says this past week should be put into a PowerPoint presentation to the owners on why robo umps need to be implemented every day this week. The umps screwed the Cubs, and I mean, he's not wrong,
Yeah.
man.
Don't
Like,
even get me started. We can go for like 2 hours on this topic, dude. I'm frustrated. I am really frustrated overall with the MLB, with how they've handled the umps, with how they're handling like possible rule changes. Like, get your game under control first before you ever think about changing anything else. Why don't you get the integrity of it under control?
I know what
It's
you're
like
gonna talk about too. You're talking about the 6 inning minimum. Did you see that?
nonsense, absolute nonsense to even like bring that up as a possibility. It shouldn't have even become a news story. What should be a news story is we have terrible umpires. It's only getting worse. What are we going to do about it? They're horrible. I
Yeah.
like this year in particular felt really bad. I watched a lot of baseball outside of the Cubs as well. And it's just some of these calls are so ridiculously bad. And they're in spots where you're like, you can't make that call in that spot. Like if you're doing that in the playoffs on a national stage, they get away with it because there's 162 games of baseball and not as many people are watching and getting and paying attention. And it's like, you lose one game, it's not as big a deal as 162. But like Scott said, this is a perfect example of why this is such an issue. Because when you get to the crucial crunch time where teams are either going to be making or breaking themselves based off of these calls that are just terrible, it's a no-brainer. You're like, maybe robo umps should be implemented, but it's disgusting, quite frankly. I'm disgusted.
Or have the challenge available.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the minors, like they're testing that out, right? With the minors.
Yeah.
Has to happen. Has
Yeah.
to happen. Like, I don't
Especially in the
see a
playoffs.
world where I think you should get one challenge per inning. Like, if or the robo umps too, I'm cool with that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Just
gotta do
yeah, I
something.
wasn't at the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe this was their whole plan. I'm not putting that out of the question that they just weren't gonna flood the MLB with really bad umpires so that they can kind of be like, well, we need to do this. That's
We
what they've done for me. I am now on the bandwagon of yeah, I need a robo ump back there because I'm so pissed off by how far these Seiya Suzuki is gonna be broken by
dude,
umpires.
it's
That is what's gonna happen. It's
it's him, man.
horrible.
It's him. They are consistently bad. It's not even they're inconsistent against him. They're just
It's
consistently bad against
bad.
him. And I think fans of other teams don't realize quite how fucking bad it is. So they just think we're just complaining and being Cubs fans that are complaining about the umpires.
No, it's
No,
it's that
it's
bad.
every game against him. Every single game, almost every at bat, he gets a strike called against him that's not a strike. And at some point, dude, if you're Craig Counsell, how do you not lose your mind
I
when it comes
know.
to him?
I
I would.
know. Yeah, I would. And how do you not like communicate to the office that this guy knows the plate? and he consistently gets screwed over. And he's coming from a different country baseball looking at this like these what? I can't even understand. So that's how you screw up a player because now he has to kind of like overcompensate for that outside edge that he knows,
And the
but
high
they
pitch.
yeah, they give him 3-4 inches off the plate on the outside edge, and yeah, they call the high pitch on him too. But like the outside edge pitch, I
Always.
see consistently they call that on him. It's ridiculous. 3 or 4 inches off the plate. It's horrible. It's not even close. It's just yeah. We could
I
talk
know.
for
I
about
know.
2 hours on it. It's horrible.
We'll move on because it's something that just irritates us, and I think we
So
want to get put in a better mood. But something that won't put us in a better mood is Hank Rodriguez pointing out Hector Neris needs only 14 more appearances to have his $9 million option for next year to kick in. Um, so I'm not super. I don't really remember exactly the details of his contract, but so is that saying like basically you should probably stop pitching him? I think that's what he's trying to say, right? Like because
probably so that the option doesn't kick in.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
think it's a player option, right?
I would imagine so.
So I'd have to go
Yeah.
back and look at that. I do not remember the details on
I
that,
don't
but
remember the details either.
why the hell do you keep pitching him? He says. A good point. And we're gonna talk about Hector Neris here in a second. Ron talking about Mr. Loose in the
Loose.
comments talking about what we were talking about earlier. The Cubs are the best tees in the league, he says here.
That's
It's true,
wonderful.
man. Like
It's true.
nationally, I think a lot of people were high on the Cubs. It wasn't just or like decently positive about them. It was
Yeah.
they weren't expecting them to be a team that's under 500 at this point in the season, and just like, do you have a chance or not? Or I think they thought they would be competing till the end. Um, but anyways, here, so we can kind of go down our little list if you want.
Sure.
Uh, we need to talk about Friday.
Yeah.
Belly, that was the one nice thing about the first two games this series. The first two games this series saw action right away from a Cubs offense standpoint because you had Belly hitting the bomb in the first inning on Friday, and then that kind of generated a lot of he got the team going right away, and then Hap, of course, on Saturday with the home run in the first inning. So I love it when the Cubs are scoring early, and I think it takes off a little bit of pressure of what kind of day are we going to have. I think guys in that clubhouse or in that dugout start to get the feel going of, okay, it's going to be a good day. So I liked that. Nick, what are your thoughts about that theory there?
Yeah, that's a great theory, especially with a team that like isn't an offensive juggernaut. I'm sure it's kind of like a relief. We've played baseball, you still play. So it's like when you know that you're not going to score a lot of runs and then early on you do, it is kind of like you relax a little bit more at the plate. You can kind of do some different things because you have that relief. So when they score, it'd be interesting to see if they do better when they score early because they're just that type of offense that like you got to get a momentum going. I feel like with them, they're not an offense that like can just go like sporadically put up like 6 runs throughout the game easy all the time. It's like they get a momentum and then they kind of catch it. And if they just catch it at the right time and the right guys, they could put up a real big crooked number. Like, but it's got to be a momentum type of thing with this team. So I think that's a great theory because when they score early, they do seem to like they take a breath. They do little different things at the plate. So that's a great theory. I like when they score early too.
But you're right, though. I'm basically basing that off of own experience. Like, it feels
Yeah.
like any team that I've ever been on, it will uplift you, especially when you know you're a team that kind of relies more on good pitching and good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not know from game to game like how many runs you're going to put up, and sometimes you do
Exactly.
struggle offensively like that. It is a so much to me a momentum lifter, and I don't know. I would be curious though to go and look at what the Cubs record. I have not done that research, but now that you said that, that's a good little research to do
Yeah.
once we get out of here, or if somebody else wants to do that here in the comments and let us know. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it
Um,
would be cool.
a couple other guys who Nick, you've been riding this train.
Yep.
You've been
Yup.
riding this train for a while, my friend. PCA to
Yep.
dinger pick for I don't know, man. Has it been like 3 weeks now? It feels like you have picked
It's been
him
a
almost
while.
every
Yeah.
day for like 3 weeks,
Yep.
and he goes Yaya on Friday. Amaya also went yard on Friday, and I just kind of put the two of them together here as one little talking point. PC Amaya or PCA Maya. I don't know, however you want to say that. But those two guys, I don't remember the exact stat. I had them in front of me. Um, and I think it was Tony Andracki that had tweeted out this stat the other day of what their numbers have looked like since one of them since early July and the other one since late July. I think PCA was since late July. Could be wrong on that. Amaya, of course, he had his struggles early in the year. They sat him
Yep.
down, tried to get him more reps and work through things offensively in the cages or off the tees, whatever, and they might have figured out some things with his swing. But these two guys, they're starting to hit a little bit, and it's good to see. I think how I look at it might not be what's actually happening, but I feel like it's two young players that are just starting to grow and just needed the repetition, and
Yeah.
at least one for in PCA's sake, I think that's 100% what it was. With Amaya's sake, I think it was a lot of adjustment. He didn't really get to focus on the offense like he needed to this year coming into the season because he knew basically the plan was you're our guy and Gomes is like helping you become the guy.
Yeah.
So, and of course Gomes is not even on the team now, and we all know the story there, but I truly think that now Amaya is starting to, who knows if this will sustain, excuse me, or not. Like, I don't know if it's sustainable on either side. I'm pretty
Yeah.
bullish when it comes to PCA being good. Like, I
Yeah.
just think he's going to be good. Amaya, I'm hopeful, but Nick, man, tell me about it. You've been riding this PCA train with the dinger
Yeah.
every day, and what are your thoughts here on both of these guys?
Yeah, so well, when it comes to Amaya, that's really interesting what you brought up that point right there that he had to really focus on being the guy behind the dish because I think a lot of people forget about how grueling it is to come into a system in the MLB and then just learn the catching position. Like that does take up a good chunk of your time, and that could make your offense suffer a little bit different than like a second baseman just coming in. There's a lot more for a catcher to kind of grasp, and there's more and more that they get thrown at each year with just skills such as framing. So it's like there's a lot there. So I didn't really think about it like that. So it was very interesting. And I think Amaya is going to be a guy that when he makes those adjustments at the plate, he's going to start to really catch on. I just don't, I'm more like on the side of like, I don't think his offense is going to come to fruition this year, especially, but it's going to take some time. I really think with him, but with PCA, he is seeing that ball better. And this is why I have been picking him because he is seeing that ball better. And that power is eventually going to come because we know it's there.
Yeah,
And he's not a guy that needs those minor league appearances anymore. He's the guy that needs the reps up at the MLB, needs to see pitches, needs to see pitchers and formulate the plan. With him, if he could just learn to get on base more, then everything's going to be a triple.
beautiful.
Everything's a triple. He just needs to get on base a little bit more.
By the way, man, I don't know about you, but I was pissed on Saturday. I think it was it Saturday? He got caught stealing on one of the games, Friday or Saturday.
Oh,
Caught
yeah.
stealing. It wasn't even caught stealing. It was like a, I don't know if they were trying to do a squeeze or if he just got like a little carried away with
At
his
third, right?
lead
It
off
was at
at third. He got thrown out
third.
of
Yeah,
third, I
yeah,
think by Kurt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I mean, he got himself in like a pickle and then
Did
was
they count that as caught stealing?
that's his
Are
first
you
caught stealing.
kidding?
His
That's
first.
bull. That's such bullshit, bro. Are you serious?
I was
That's so
pissed.
stupid.
I made a
Yeah, I'd
stupid
be
joke,
pissed.
like, long-winded tweet that was, like, probably people did not even understand what I was
I didn't
trying to
see
say, but you should
it.
probably go back and look at that and tell me if
I
you
gotta
do
check
understand it or not, because
that.
like, went down this whole fucking thing about this doesn't make sense, this is like that, this is like anyways. It's like,
That's great.
basically what I was saying was, like, and I'll just explain it here, and then people in the comments can also tell me if I'm an idiot. It's like when you get a bill from, wherever. Let's say you're out to eat though. You get the bill, they give you the pen to sign it with. You paid with a card, right? And then you accidentally put the pen in your ear and you walk
Okay.
out, but then somebody is like, "Hey," no one would actually say this because it's just a fucking pen. But like, let's say they noticed and they're like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, stole your pen. Sorry about that." It's like that was the caught stealing. This was
That
not
was yeah.
an actual caught stealing. That was the kind of metaphor I was trying to like make with that.
That's a good metaphor.
But it
No,
was.
that's good.
I don't think people understood it the way I typed it though, because I did not know how the fuck to articulate that without being on a microphone. So
That's great.
but anyways, if it makes sense to you, then I guess I'm not too far
That
down
makes
the,
sense.
the rabbit hole. But no, man, I'm with you. Like PCA is starting to see it better. His at bats look better. Like he's working counts, he's fouling pitches
Yeah.
off. He's a little bit more selective, it seems, and getting on some of those fastballs that were an issue, I think. Like some of the
Yeah.
fastballs and even the breaking ball at times when he gets himself into two strike trouble, the breaking ball down, sometimes I saw that be an issue, which, it's still going to flare up here and there. But I mean, man, like you said, if he gets on base, it's over. It's, it's,
Yeah.
it's literally it's game over. And I'm just so here to see that because it's electricity every single time. It's what I would tune in for if the Cubs sucked, which they're not great this year. But if the Cubs were just dog off or dog shit like a
If they were the White Sox,
2015 team or the White Sox, good
if
God,
he was on the White Sox, I'd be tuning in to watch him.
that would
But
literally be
yeah,
it. Tominato, hopefully I'm saying you're Tominato, Tominato.
Terminator.
I don't know. Hopefully, I'm saying the name right here. PCA's plate approach does scare me in terms of how much he resembles Javier Baez. And then he goes on to say, and obviously I love Baez, but I don't think that type of plate approach is sustainable for a career. I agree, it's not.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
It's definitely not. But I would argue that his plate approach has gotten a little bit better. It's not great.
Yeah, he's
It's the on
making the
base part,
adjustment. Yeah.
the adjustment, and he's seeing the ball and the contact is picking up too. Like it's
Yeah.
more hard contact, I think, instead of just like, getting these infield singles and this like because of the speed, but speed kills. So he
Exactly.
always has that in his back pocket until, probably till he's like 33 or something, 32, which is
Literally.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's
it's
my age,
perfect.
just
It's
to
perfect.
call myself old here. But yeah, Nick, I do like I'm kind of not in agreement with you about Amaya. I'm just not sure. Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure with Maya.
yeah, I'm not
He kind
sure.
of scares me a little bit.
He did make a nice play defensively too. I think it was Saturday as well. That little scoop, nice little scoop.
Oh
Guy was
yeah.
stealing third base and he threw a bullet to third, which was also in the dirt. But it was right on the money. So
Yeah, it was
Paredes,
right on the money. And Praise picked it right out. Yeah.
dude, I thought that was a great play, both sides.
It
Like,
was. It was a pretty play. And see if Amaya can do that, if he can throw with that type of accuracy, I think that'll take our worries away a little bit like less, right? Because
mhm.
with not having the offensive at all, like catchers, you're not expecting to be like this big, huge juggernaut of offense all the time. Like he's not gonna be, but you gotta at least be a good catcher. You got to be making the plays with stolen bases and blocking
We have had
balls.
issues with his blocking at points this
Yeah,
season.
getting lazy, reaching his arm out to you got to get in front of the ball. And especially as a young catcher, like those things scare me a little bit because those are pretty rudimentary concepts where you drop, like you drop down, you
Mhm.
protect it. It's kind of lazy out of him, but hopefully they just tighten those things up. And he's young, so we'll see. But it's kind of a disappointment for this year for catching position. Obviously, like we're definitely disappointed.
100%, dude. It's taken until like this more recent time to get decent. And maybe that's a growing pain year. I get it for one position, but I don't know. I'm hoping that that's what it is.
I know.
I still think they should look at like someone who can, if they're not a huge upgrade at the catcher position, it needs to be someone who can really push Amaya as far as the starting role goes. Like someone
Yeah,
on his level, it needs to be. Um, and we'll
yeah,
see. We got another month and a half or month and 2 weeks or whatever to like really get a really good picture. But I have been more on the fence this season of wanting to see an upgrade there. I don't I don't know. Is his offensive showing recently enough to drive the case of not making an offensive upgrade? That's kind of TBD, I think, at this point.
exactly. No, I really think you're right on that. And I mean, if you want to win now, if you're in a win now moment, like he's not your guy behind the plate. He's just not. So it's
Mhm.
just
What the fuck? I don't
I
know
just
who
saw
Paul
that.
Peters is. I don't think I should put that on the screen, but it's funny. I definitely don't do that, Paul. But if I look like that, I don't know. Maybe I do. I hope not. But go see. This is why you need to be in the comments section. Like you just need to
this
be just
that I just
tuning in
saw
to
that
wonders.
pop up and it totally threw me off. Like my thought is gone. I
So
saw that, I'm like, what?
I don't even know who this dude is. Maybe I do. I don't know.
That's
Um,
hilarious. Yeah, you might know him.
but I don't even
That's
recognize that name. But
that's great.
that's funny as hell. All right, so we have other things to talk about other than Maya and PCAA. Um, as we try to contain ourselves here. Heart Attack Hector also on Friday. That game shouldn't have been that close, man. Like
No,
that
felt like a loss.
it felt like a loss. Like blowing that game and the balking issues still at this point when you are I just don't get it. Like you're at the point where if the season where it balks should not be an issue. Like
It shouldn't
this
happen.
no.
Especially his box. They're not the ones where you're like, oh, what the heck is that call? It's a balk.
Every
Like
time.
he's balking. And you're like, what? Did he really just balk again? Like you're just in shock. Because these are not the ones that are very like nitpicky. They have those. There's certain umpires that are really nitpicky. He's just full blown balking. The rule, he's doing it, it's happening. And you're like, what? It just doesn't happen a lot. Like you said, at this time of the year, they just shouldn't happen. They just shouldn't even occur. It's something that's totally controllable.
It makes me want to lose my mind, dude.
I
Like
know.
I wonder if I'm losing my mind when I see it happen again. Because
It's so aggravating.
you know that they're talking to him about this, right? Like as much shit as I give counsel for some of his decision making, which I have not been impressed with this year. I will be honest with you. The lineups
Yeah.
I'm okay with most of the time. There's another topic that we need to get into next that I'm not okay with. Um, but like when it comes to Hector, heart attack Hector, nervous Neris, whatever you want to call him, you know that they're telling him, don't balk, don't balk. Like they're shouting it at times from the dugout to tell players to go
Don't
tell
balk.
him,
Yeah.
watch the balking. So, dude, get it together. Get it together. And on top of that, you are not pitching well enough for you to be balking or not listening to coaches' instructions when it comes to simple things like that because you are like we're sitting on pins and needles every single time that he pitches in the ninth inning. And I don't
Yeah.
care if he gets the job done or not. It is just way too much of a roller coaster for my health. Like, I
Well,
don't know
there's other
about
guys. There's yeah, no, it's not worth it. That's why we call him heart attack Hector. It's bad for our health to be watching him in the late innings. Like he should not be coming. Plus, he's had so many opportunities and blown so many of those opportunities. That's like it really makes you question counsel, and you just like go. At this point, is this just like pure like does he have something for this guy that he wants to see them succeed? Is it coming from above him? Like why is he still in there in this role? It just doesn't make any sense. I was shocked when I saw him come out. I was like, what? Like you were saying in the pre-show, there's Jorge Lopez. Like there's so many other options than that. And it's like, why put yourself through that?
it's kind of like just malpractice at this point that they keep going
That's the
through the
word. I was
ninth.
like, yeah, it's
Ninth.
malpractice. Yeah.
And I was totally the same way on Saturday. Please don't put him in the ninth. And like you're saying there, Ethan Roberts, who hasn't pitched really at all until like he's been healthy and not pitching for a while, which is wild in itself.
It is.
Porter Hodge has been really good. Tyson
Yeah.
Miller's been really good. Uh, Going down the list, like there's Jorge Lopez was, and that's why I said on Saturday, I said, dude, please put Jorge Lopez because I was looking at the guys who had already pitched and guys who had pitched on Friday, like put him in there. He's a dog. Like since he's come to the Cubs, his ERA, and I think it's a little over 20 games or whatever, 20 innings pitched. He's been under a half a run for an ERA. Like that's incredible. And
It's insane.
on Saturday, he gave up the solo shot to dead center, which wasn't ideal. It was leadoff home run to Mr. Addison Barger or Barger. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but he was one of their pretty good prospects that just came up recently or this season. But he leaked it. It was a fastball over the middle. It wasn't a good pitch. Missed his spot, obviously. I don't mind him trying to attack there with a 2-run lead, though. If you're going to attack the leadoff guy, and it's a younger player, so just let's see if he can do it in the ninth. I don't mind that. But the next three guys, he struck out the side and looked nasty. I mean, the sliders were filthy from then on out, and he made Vlad look silly. Like
He did.
Vlad was pulling his head. He was trying to whack one from like off the inside corner. He was trying to hit it to Waveland, and it was nowhere near the strike zone. Slider low and away every single pitch, and he just kept doubling down on that pitch, doubling and tripling down,
Yeah.
and it worked. So I'm excited for that because I hope that they use him. I wouldn't mind Porter Hodge or one of the other guys either who've been really good. And,
Yeah.
especially Porter Hodge is going to be a guy that's long term here, I think.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Porter Hodge. Yeah.
but I do think like Jorge Lopez deserves the shot at this point. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
plan on like contending, like it's a total mental thing being in that closer role. Like not knowing what Porter Hodge is going to react to with the ninth, or maybe they have a good, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you just have to gauge from the clubhouse what a type of player mold is,
Yeah.
if they can do it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, because those last three outs are different. They are different, like it or not. Like you have to be built different. You have to be built for that moment. And that's why it's so weird that Hector's out there because he's done it before. He's been there, but like it doesn't matter. Like once you lose it, you've lost it, especially for the year. I'm a big believer in that. Like reset yourself, take the off season, take spring training, and maybe then you can work your way back to that position. But once you lose the closing role, like it's gone. That's how I would treat it as a manager. Like I'm not going to go back on my decision. You already proved many times you can't do it. Why would I go try the same thing again? That's why I'm just so confused by it. You're
Mm-hmm.
paying this guy so much money to manage. And it's like you're scratching your head. And I thought with all this extra money we'd be spending, we wouldn't be sitting here scratching our head. Like you could say the roster might be bad and stuff, but like there's been clear decisions by council that you're like, what?
Yeah, I know he only has so much to work with when it comes to the roster
Yeah.
itself, but like there's decisions that you can make better with the guys you have.
Yeah.
At least from where I'm standing, and I know that's not always, it's easier said than done from where we're standing, but Nick, there's some comments here you should probably get to. Um, I don't want to. We're not going to pull out the one. Uh,
I can't.
I know
I can't even look at
at this point.
it.
So Taminato says Ethan Roberts had. I think he had a great day. His slider makes me think of a wiffle ball, which it is a really good slider.
Exactly. Yeah, it's got a lot of movement on it.
And then, a few others from him. There was an outing last week where he was balking, and the umps weren't calling it, and the announcers were all over it, and the whole dugout was telling him to stop. And that's that was one of them I remember watching. I think it was against the Guardians. I want to
I
say
was gonna say, I think I remember this moment. Yeah, it is against Guardians.
incredible pitching this series from the Cubs, really great. He also said, and then especially these last 2 days, Steele got taken out early because of rain, and Shota only had a 5 inning outing, and the relievers had to work really hard. Totally agree. They definitely did have to. And then Scott Vladdy looked like Javi in that at bat. He really did, man. It was
Yeah.
wow. We're gonna get to the Tigers series in a second, so hold that thought there. We will get to the Tigers. Craig Timber, Matthew Waitley says, or so I thought. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I
I don't know.
hopefully it is Craig Timber in a good way coming up
If
here in
we could
September
just
or
set
October.
ourselves up to be like 3 back before September, and then it is Craig Timber, maybe we're changing our tune on all of this. But right now, you lost ground from last weekend, so it's very frustrating.
I would love to change my tune on all this, but Nick, we're not going to change our tune right now because there's something we got to talk about.
Speaking of bad decisions by the manager,
Yeah, if you can't see it here, one of the topics that we definitely wanted to get into tonight was pinch hitting for Michael Bush. For the love of God. For the love of God. I don't care who it is. Paredes today, who was scratched before the game due to an injury or whatever, and then was able to pinch hit for Michael Bush late in the game. But what you see oftentimes is either Michael Bush is sitting or Michael Bush is getting pinch hit for by usually Patrick Wisdom. We see how well that goes against left-handed pitchers, which why on earth are you continually sitting or pinch hitting or whatever one of your best hitters who actually hits lefties well? He's done
yeah,
it this year. He's one of your better hitters. Period. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. Lefty, righty, maybe the power is a little bit less against lefties. But if he's going to drive one into the gap or whatever, what do I care if his power is down? He's a much better hitter than any of the other options you have off the bench. And that's why it's a point of conversation tonight, because I am sick and tired of seeing this. The analytics, whatever you're looking at with this platoon split,
it's not supported. Yeah,
it's not supporting. The results are not working. So
no,
stop what you're doing, reassess the situation, and make the necessary change. Like I mean, Craig is smart enough to not be doing this, or so I would think.
I
Right?
know.
Where is this coming from? Is it coming from him? Is it coming from Jed? Like analytics report? Like
Yeah,
what is happening here where Michael Bush, one of your best hitters on the team all season, is getting pinch hit for just because he's facing a lefty, Nick? I don't understand it.
I don't get
It
that.
pisses me
Yeah.
off.
No, it pisses me off too. And like you said, he hits lefties fine, and he's one of your best hitters. Why are you taking one of your best hitters out of the lineup, especially in moments where you need that crucial hit? Even if it is like you're losing a little bit of power, like you said, you can put one in the gap. He's a guy that can change the whole momentum of the game with just one swing. And so you're going to choose to put in Patrick Wisdom, a guy that
Come on.
maybe in a once in a blue moon he hits just a rocket, but it doesn't happen very often. It's like you much rather take consistency over that. And even Paredes today, it's like No, Michael Bush still should be, he still should be in that spot. He's your best hitter. And when you're talking about a manager being so highly paid, it does beg the question, is this coming from above him? That's why I said that earlier. Is this something that is coming from a report where they're like, well, late in the game, we might need to be pinch hitting? Because it doesn't make any sense for a manager of his caliber to be making such a poor decision like that. Like, Bush is the guy. And like we've said this year, it's been so crazy to say that Bush is like probably the second best offensive player on the team. Like he might
right?
be the best. He's the rookie. So it is shocking to see that. I saw that too, and I was pissed. I was like, just another check mark in the
Ugh,
box of Craig Counsell, where it's like, I don't want to, but you kind of have to. It's his decision. So it's like, damn it.
I want to. It just reminded me right now when you were talking. Do you remember early or before the season we did? I think it might have been a prediction show. I don't remember which show it was, but like I think it was Ron that said he basically if Michael Bush is having the best year or being one of your best hitters, he's probably it's because in the team sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like the team's not having a good year if it's
Yep.
Michael Bush having the best season of your team. And he's right at this
So
point.
far,
Like
yep.
he's
Exactly.
right. Like that cannot be the case because he's a rookie. Because if he's a growing player and he's a young player, like this is not going to be the best that you see from him, anyways. Even if he is having a tremendous year. Like I would expect Bush to get much better. But yeah, Nick, it's just so freaking frustrating. Like I don't understand why he continues to do this, and it makes me feel like actually looking back at Ross's tenure here when Ross was manager, like there were a lot of times where this righty lefty stuff got a little insane. It got a little
Yeah.
crazy. Like he was doing a lot of righty lefty stuff. And that's why I'm thinking like, is this a top down thing?
Well,
No.
I mean,
You
I
paid him the
don't
big
recall
bucks though.
Council doing this in Milwaukee.
I don't know. I don't remember a
I don't
situation where he was either, but it's
I don't remember him like, taking his second best hitter in the lineup and pinch hitting him late in the game in situations where like you need that hit. It's like it doesn't make it just for a split. And like you said, it's like if he's doing terrible against lefties, like horrible, fine. I guess at that point you're like, I guess we can kind of stomach that decision, but this is just not even you can't even wrap your mind around it really.
yeah.
There's
I
just
just
no way to wrap your mind around it.
I just hope it gets better, man. That's all I can say. Craig Numbers Council still hasn't found out that Bush hits great against lefties. Talminato says, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He says it also annoys me how many opportunities Wisdom gets compared to Bodie. Uh, all right, I mean, I guess I'll put this one. No, I probably shouldn't. Another Paul Peters gem.
Is there another one?
Yeah, guy that hat is freaking me out. I bet he sits in his car naked with binoculars. Put it up there for you. There you go. Happy Sunday, Paul. Um, but all right.
That's great.
Final topic, Nick. Before we get into the next series and what's on tap for the Cubs, Cubs playoff chances. We we were talking earlier about being a little bit more realistic here
Sure.
as we look at things, but you know, you look at the standings and they are 5.5 back. I've always looked at things, at least from a division standpoint, as when I was a kid, and as time has gone on, like if you're 6 games back, early September, you still have a shot. But, and so I'm not saying they don't. I definitely think they have a shot. But, 5.5 games back with 3 teams to pass is kind of like the thing
Yeah.
here. But they do have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. And easy definitely needs to be like air
Yeah.
quoted because we know how baseball operates. Like baseball
Yeah.
is it's a different sport. You can lose to the worst teams in the league. especially at the majors level. Like this is not, you know, mom and pop men's league or whatever. Like this is not. These guys can all play. It's just a matter of when they play. So, what's your overall feeling? Like, is this
Yeah.
what are their chances? Like
Uh,
your feeling and like realistically,
yeah.
what do you think's happening here?
Well, my feeling, obviously, I want to see them do good. I want to see them go on a run. I want to see them sweep some series. I thought it was going to start with this. When I woke up today, I thought, man, you win today. You set yourself up. If you sweep Detroit, now you're talking about maybe you're 2.5 back and you're really right there. So with this loss today, it really is a deflating one. Because like I said, you really needed the sweep. I put their chances around 16, 17%
Hmm.
right now. Yeah.
That's pretty high though, actually. That
Yeah. I mean, because, if they can still go on a run and then the other teams, like, you need to lose, they do. Like you said, it's not that many games, especially maybe you go into September and you're only 4 back, not 6. Like, then you're like really talking about maybe something goes your way. But I hate, and we were doing this last year, and we were doing this the year and the year before that. I hate wanting other teams. You have to trust in them to lose, and you're like, I want to control our own destiny one year and just win the division, just be on top, where you don't have to worry about the other teams. And you're like, who cares if they win or lose? Doesn't matter to me, because we took care of business. But they consistently do not take care of business. They don't. They're a team that kind of like is on the fringe of being a good team, but they're just not there. And even the national media this year was kind of hoodwinked. They thought they'd be much better, and they weren't. I mean, they had that really good start after struggling a little bit. They had that really good run. It was like April, something like that. And then ever since then, it's just been kind of downhill. So yeah, 15, 17% is probably my number. And that's high too, but you never know.
I don't hate it though. I think 15, 16%, you're at least that's striking distance,
Yeah,
right?
you could still watch that.
I can watch that. That's
Yeah.
watchable.
Yeah.
Will it be watchable? That's another question, but
Gotta do good in this Detroit series. It's just I don't
I
know.
know. I know. We'll go ahead and look at that real quick. So we got the Tigers in Detroit. You got an off day tomorrow, Monday. If you're listening to this in podcast form today on Monday, I mean, if you're listening to it tomorrow, they are off. So don't be trying to tune in to Marquee. They don't have a game. But Tuesday through Thursday, you've got the Tigers coming up. So Javier Baez making his return to Wrigley Field. I think Ron said that he was going to be there
Oh,
uh,
nice.
to watch the Javi return, so that'll be cool. And yeah, Nick, I mean, what do the Cubs need to do to come out with bare minimum 2 out of 3, but like really, I feel like the
They
Cubs
need
need to
to,
sweep.
yeah,
So what
they
do they
need to
need to
sweep.
do?
They need to just go out there and just have a great offensive performance. Like Tomanatu, sorry, said the pitching was really good this series, but it was really stressful for the bullpen. They had to work really hard. So you need to take that pressure off of the pitching and just do well offensively. I'd like to see them play a little more small ball, be a little more aggressive in the right spots, and just kind of move runners around. Detroit's beatable, obviously, very beatable, but they're not someone that you can just go into and lollygag and win. So you have to be on your A game. They got to be ready, and the bats got to be ready. That's the main thing. I think if they could put up crooked numbers in each of these games, they should be good. I really feel good about the pitching right now. Most people do. It's just the stupid offense that just sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And it seems like when it's not there, it's the most frustrating because the starting pitching just holds them to like one or no runs. And it's like, really? It was that easy. All we had to do was score 2 runs today, and that's another
Right? Come
win.
on.
Like, come on. It's so frustrating. So if they have good offense, they hold it together, just shake some things up. Like I said, small ball, running in the right spots. Be aggressive. Not Willie Harris send aggressive, but be aggressive.
Good lord, sometimes, man.
Sometimes those sends can be just oof.
Sometimes they work too, but like because the throw wasn't
But
great.
because the throw's not there, I mean, if you're gonna take the chance, eventually it's gonna work. But that's not a high percentage when you're doing that. But if they could be aggressive in the right spots here, take advantage of mistakes that Detroit is bound to make. Just play sound baseball. But you gotta sweep. At this point, you gotta win like the next like 10 out of 15 games. Like
Yeah.
you're in a position of like,
Well, you're in agreement with Tominato.
yeah, 10 in the next, yeah, 100%. Exactly. You have to.
And
You have to win the next 11 out of 50. Yeah, exactly.
that's what Scott says.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you have no chance. Realistically, you really have no chance. So it's disappointing that we're here on August 18th talking about this, but
Yeah.
at least they're still in it. Like, I would just not even know what to do with myself if I was a White Sox fan.
Jay makes a good point, though. He's right. Tariq Skubal will pitch tonight against the Yankees, so the Cubs
Oh, we
will
won't see
not
Scooble.
see Mr. Skubal, who's an absolute monster from the left side.
Yeah,
That
I
guy
feel like
is,
that would have been bad if we saw Scooble.
yeah. So, so that would have been
So you got
bad.
that going for you. But
We
it
do.
seems like when good things are going for the Cubs, like you said, baseball is a funny sport like that. It's just like everything on paper can look really good for the Cubs. You could miss all their like starters due to injuries. It's like, no, they still can't pull it together. Like, really? Really?
No, I know. And you know what? This is kind of funny. I
I can't
don't
take this guy.
I don't know.
Paul, you made my night, man.
Look,
This
do I need to
dude.
shave or something? Is it that bad? Is it that
Hard
is it
work.
is it that
Dude,
freaking
you
look,
look fine. You look
dude?
good.
I got a
This guy
nice
must know
tan
you.
going. Like I don't know who this is, honestly. Like, maybe I
Maybe
do.
they're like trolling with a
Code
different
name.
team. Yeah.
But anyways, my
Stupid.
dad looks like an aardvark apparently. Um, no, but Joey is a baby kangaroo, so maybe it's actually like my dad's a kangaroo. Um,
Your
anyway, that
dad's a
was really
kangaroo.
fucking stupid.
There you go.
I'll
I
leave
love
Paul
that.
with the jokes here. Um,
That's great.
Scott, there will be more arrests on Michigan Mile in the next 2 days than Cubs hits the remaining season. Stop. We're not gonna be
It's
negative.
probably accurate.
Paul Peters is so funny. Tomato says, "Yeah, ha ha, laugh it up, motherfuckers." All right. Anyways, yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's what's on tap, Nick. Hopefully, we get a sweep. Hopefully, we get a series win, bare minimum. And hopefully, the Cubs can go on a little bit of a run here. I think the schedule is more than doable. It's more than possible that they could take advantage of this. I mean, even after this, don't have it pulled up right in front of you. Is it Washington?
I think it's Miami.
Is it Miami first? Okay, so
I believe
Miami.
so.
I know they have Washington, Colorado, teams like that in the mix. Oakland, maybe not immediately. Like I don't have the exact schedule in front of me, but the Yankees and Dodgers, like teams like those, will
Yeah,
be tough coming
Pirates,
up.
Miami, then
Pirates will be tough.
Pirates. Yep.
I think the Pirates pitching definitely makes this like a hard
And
issue
then you
when
play
pitching.
Tigers again, so you could see Scooble.
Yeah, true.
Hopefully not.
Uh, Jay says he'll be in at the Cubs game in Miami on August 25th. Nice.
Nice.
Cool, man. Got to get some good footage for us. Send us some at game photos or videos or something. That'd be
Definitely.
awesome. But Nick, I'm pretty much ready to go. I mean, this has been a great one. This is basically like our Friday fun day, Sunday
Yeah.
fun day here
It's
on
fun.
Cubs on Tap. But do you have any final thoughts? Final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this puppy up?
My final thought is it's been an up and down season, yo-yoing. But
This
it's
beer
still
tastes like shit, by the way. Still
just
yo-yoing.
like Joey's working through the beer. We have to work through these final games and just kind of watch them, let them hit us, and we know we're not going to love it, but it could be good if we just get through it. But not the beer.
I'm almost through that too, but it did not
But
get
it
better.
was not good. It didn't get better.
It didn't get better. Scott says spin zone. The Braves have a 3-game series with a team that has 3 players that should be Cubs. Thanks, Jed. All right. I'm done with the negativity. Nick,
The
always
Braves
a
are also
pleasure.
sucking. So
Yeah, the Braves. I mean, dude, that's a thing today. I didn't see what the Braves did today, but the Cubs had a lot of teams, or at least a couple, 2 or 3 of the teams that they needed to lose today.
lose. Yeah,
They
I
could have
know.
picked up a little bit of ground, maybe not against the Braves, who are, I believe, that third wild card right now as we sit here. But they could have leapfrogged maybe another team
Exactly.
in that spot. So kind of frustrating when that happens, especially when it's like so close like that, that 1-0 game. So leaving this
Yeah.
series sour note, but would not mind too, just to go back to one of the comments here talking about Javi Baez, and I'm not gonna be able to pull it up right here, but um wouldn't mind if Javi had a hell of a series against the Cubs, as long as Cubs win every game.
Yeah. I agree
That
with that.
that's the
That's
only
like the
requirement.
best case scenario is he has a good series, but the Cubs win every game.
If he has a good series and the Cubs lose every game,
Ooh, then we're gonna be really pissed. Then we're gonna be really, really, really pissed off. Especially if he carries them. You don't want to get me on the mic if that
I
happens.
might turn into an aardvark.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I won't do the other crazy shit that Mr. Paul was saying here, but I might turn into an aardvark and just like chase everybody down and just be like a scary mascot, half human, half animal. Anyways,
That's
all
gonna
right,
happen.
it's not going to happen because they're not going to
It's
lose the
not.
series, Nick. They're winning
No,
the series.
it's not
So
happening.
for me, Joey, Nick, you can find Nick at Nick _ on tap. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. You know where to find all the Cubs and really Chicago sports related content. It's at ontapsportsnet.com. Go ahead and follow the podcast too on X at Cubbies on Tap. Go ahead and follow all the other cast members, or I guess, whatever you want to call them, podcast hosts here at Cubs on Tap, at Loose on Tap, Juice on Tap, Juice on Tap, Loose on Tap, and at Teddy Freddy 270. There are others as well who I will definitely not remember the ads for. So I won't give you those. But Bears content. Obviously, the Bears are rolling right now. We got preseason action. They just had their third preseason game on Saturday. Caleb Williams looked
Really
excellent.
good. Yeah.
So the Bears guys, Bears
Exciting.
on tap. We'll be covering that here. You got hockey. Exactly. It's Four Feathers podcast. Those guys talking Blackhawks hockey. Then the White Sox being miserable, doing their
Yeah,
thing.
the White Sox. Oh,
Uh,
jeez.
I don't even know how they're running a show these days. Like
No.
I don't know, and maybe it's been better lately. I just don't know. I don't haven't been following, but um, can't get much better. And then you got the Bulls. Golf. Okay, golf. We need to shout out golf because Jack and Ross Weekly doing a great job on the golf show, and then of course me and Jack doing the bets side of things, uh, pretty much weekly as well. So we didn't get an outright this week. At least me and Jack didn't, with Hideki Matsuyama running away with it this Sunday. Well, he made it closer than it should have been, but we still, I didn't have anybody really in the mix. Sam Burns was a little farther down, but neither here nor there. We are Cubs on tap. Um, I don't know. Nick, what do you say we get on out of here? The only way we know how to do,
Fuck the Cardinals.
and beat the Tigers. And let's go Cubbies.
There you go.